Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Guys, you're always here every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, bringing you the very latest from Rangers FC. And you know what? If you want that content, it's going to cost you nothing. It's going to be free to you. You know what? That's what we believe. Myself and Victoria, very much by the fans, for the fans. We are fans of the club, and we believe that you should be able to access your content on your club for absolutely nothing. Yes, there are ways that you can support the channel. Obviously, the super thanks button down below this video, the super chats during the lives, and you can obviously join the channel for as little as 99p. But you know what? We always believe that all content should be free, and you should be able to access content on your club for nothing, and you shouldn't be charged for it. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about the Champions League. We'll look a bit at the opponents that Rangers could face in the third qualifying round after they drew either Servette or Genk today. We're also going to look a little bit about Nicholas Raskin as well. He's been active on social media. No, not in a bad way. Don't worry. We're going to look at the paper talk as well around Danilo and the deal for him. And also Rangers linked with a different defender, yet another new name. And a little look ahead as well to the Olympiacos game, which obviously is upcoming on Wednesday night at Ibrox, the third of 4 pre-season friendlies the club are playing, ready to get themselves going for the new SPFL season. Well, unfortunately, we've got to start with some sad news today in our video. Yesterday, it was confirmed that Trevor Francis, former Rangers player, former Nottingham Forest player, former England player, Sampdoria, former Birmingham manager, sadly passed away at the age of just 69, which is no age at all, really. Not in this day and age. To pass away so young is tragic. Obviously, our thoughts are with Trevor and his family at this really awful time. Trevor obviously played for Rangers. He joined Rangers after working with Graham Souness at Sampdoria. Trevor Francis didn't make a great deal of appearances for the club. I think it was 25 in total, scoring just a single goal during his time at the club. He was with Rangers between 1987 and 1988, right in the period when obviously I started supporting the club. And, you know, it's sad to hear of his passing, and pretty tragic that the guy was only 69 years old. You know, that's not really any age at all, really, is it, in this modern era where medicine has obviously advanced to a degree. He was the first £1 million player. He scored a goal in the European Cup final to help Nottingham Forest win the European Cup. With Rangers, he won the Scottish League Cup in 1987 and 1988, and there he is lifting that trophy with legend Graham Roberts. But obviously, like I said, our thoughts and prayers go out to Trevor and his family at this awful time. Okay, so let's move on and talk a little bit about, obviously, the big news from yesterday was the Champions League draw, which we live streamed here on the channel. Obviously, as always, bringing you the very latest on the club and bringing you all the news when it happens. That's what the live stream did yesterday. We had a fantastic response to that. Loads of viewers, loads of comments, absolutely superb. So thank you so much for your support. It was absolutely amazing. Rangers will face either Servette of Switzerland, who play in Geneva, or KRC Genk of Belgium. Many people saying that drawing Genk, which I know Genk have not yet got through, they play tonight in the first leg before the return leg comes a week later. That many people say that in Genk, Rangers have drawn probably the toughest opposition of all. They are a very fine team by all accounts, missing out on the Belgian league title on the last day of the season. But, you know, certainly a team that has had to change. They do lose players. They do lose a lot of players. The Belgian league, you know, which is an up-and-coming league, has developed some mighty fine players. Our own Nicholas Raskin, who came from Standard Liège, played for Genk. Searle not for Genk, played for Standard Liège. Searle played for Genk. Fashion Sakala came from Ostend. Yanis Hadji, I think, played for Genk as well. Alex McLeish had a short time managing out there. So, you know, it's a league with even some connections to Rangers. And obviously Rangers have players that will have a knowledge of Genk, which obviously will stand them in good stead for this third qualifying round. Now, when obviously will this take place? Well, The fixtures here are out now, and Rangers will play either Servette or Genk on the 9th of August at home. They start home at Ibrox. More of that in a moment. Then they play obviously Livingston in the league on the 12th before the return leg, which is away in either Geneva or Genk on the 15th of August before the Ross County game away from home on the Saturday. Rangers obviously start their European qualifying campaign with a home tie. Many people would have wanted that home tie to come second, but sometimes that's. I think with the present team being very inexperienced, the present team, having to bed in and gel, having them at Ibrox, I think may be a good thing. Ibrox will be bouncing, Ibrox will be ready for this tie, and I think we turn it into a cauldron. We pump up the atmosphere. The Union Bears will be bang up for it. And I think there's a good chance we could really, get under the skin of whoever we are playing and, get a couple of goals, 2-3 goals up. And then when we go away to Genk or to Geneva, we'll be in the perfect position to defend that lead and be successful. Whereas I think, if we'd gone away, perhaps first leg to Genk or to Geneva, not done so well, Ibrox would have been a bit quiet, maybe a bit more reserved, a bit nervous, maybe obviously not knowing the team as well as it has done in the past. Or maybe I don't know, maybe not, maybe they've been bang up for it. But I think that first home leg, trying to find the positive in this, will give us a chance to really kickstart this European campaign, to go out there and fire at it, at a million miles an hour and really go after whichever team it is we actually end up facing, whether it is Genk or Servette. Like I said, the first leg of that tie is tonight. So no doubt there'll be a number of Rangers fans watching that game with great interest. Now, this is obviously a repeat of last season to a degree, where we played Union Saint-Gilloise, who were a Belgian team. We could again face another Belgian team. Obviously, we lost the first leg last season 2-0 in a pretty horrific display out when we played USG. Brought them back to Ibrox and beat them. So it's a bit of a reverse, isn't it? We've obviously got to do the damage in the first leg at home and then go away to Genk or to Servette. Depends on who gets through, obviously. Even if we lose, obviously, we will drop down to the Europa League, which is not ideal. I know I can see why the Europa League is perhaps more realistic for Rangers. In terms of competition levels, we've got teams you can more likely compete with in the Europa League. Whereas obviously in the Champions League, you are playing the elite of the elite teams worth hundreds of millions of pounds with players who are worth hundreds of millions. Again, not sort of, that we can compete with. You look at our most expensive player, you compare it to, say, Manchester City's or Barcelona's or Real Madrid. It's not even in the same league, really, is it? So, that is definitely the situation. Perhaps the Europa League is better, but for me, the Champions League is something we need to qualify for. The money is there. You can end up to 50 million in the group stages. You've also got the prestige and also the coefficient points as well. So for me, the UCL is absolutely vital for Rangers. There was a great article in the Record the other day explaining a little bit more about the two clubs we could face, Genk and Servette. Now, I don't know about you, but you know what? I don't watch a lot of Belgian football. I certainly don't watch a lot of Swiss football. Yes, I watch La Liga. Yes, I watch Ligue 1. Yes, I watch Bundesliga. Yes, I watch Serie A. So I have some knowledge of those teams. I have knowledge of the PSGs, the Bayern Munichs, the Barcelonas of this world, but certainly not of the Servettes or the Genks of this world. Genk, in particular, is a bit of an odd name anyway, isn't it? Now, apparently, Genk are a fairly new club. They were formed in 1988. They were a merger of. Now, I honestly believe these two names are made up. Or maybe I'm being disrespectful. I don't know. KFC. Now, check this name out. Winterslag. And that's where I'm going to leave that one. I'm not going to take that one any further. And then a team called Watershide Thor. And I thought Thor was a god, a Greek god or something like that. Anyway, they come from the city of Genk, which is in Limburg province, and they've won the Belgian title 4 times since 1988. And it could have, well, like I said, been 5. They lost out in the final day of last season when former Tottenham defender Toby Alderweireld scored an equaliser for Standard Liège to win them the title. Genk's ground holds only 23,718, so it's a very small ground in comparison to Ibrox. So hopefully, Ibrox, the atmosphere could be intimidating to Genk. It's who is their star player? Well, apparently their star player is a man called Mike Tresor, Tresor. If you want to Google him, he's a Belgium international playmaker. He makes game ticky. He had 24 assists last season, which is the highest of any of the in any of the European leagues. It's their 5th season in the Champions League, and they've had 6 seasons in the UEFA Cup Europa League and 2 in the Intertoto, for those of you who remember the Intertoto Cup. Their best season in Europe came 6 years ago when they reached the quarterfinals of the Europa League, where they lost to Celta Vigo. So that's a little bit about Genk. Now, I think it's obviously more highly likely that Genk will qualify. They are the favourites to get through. They are the more powerful and stronger team. In terms of Servette, apparently Servette were initially founded as a rugby club in 1890. But in 1900, the football club evolved for them. They play at a 30,000-seater stadium, again, much smaller than Ibrox, so maybe the atmosphere of Ibrox could be intimidating. I suppose it could also be inspiring as well. They're 17 times Swiss champions and 7 times Swiss Cup winners. They have also been relegated to the lowest tier of Swiss football because of bankruptcy. Bit of commonality there between the two clubs. They were runners-up in the Swiss League last season and have been tooling up for a crack at the Champions League. They've signed a number of players this summer. Bradley Mazaku was their biggest summer signing. They spent $350,000 on him. He's a left back from Aris in Greece. Yes, Aris, where Luis Palma was, that former Rangers target. He's also been joined by a young Danish player called Alexander Ling. A little bit about him. Their star man is a guy called Kaigo Tsunemoto. He's a Japanese player. Yes, another one of those. We all know about Japanese players having obviously that lot across the city, having a great number of them. They're attempting to reach the Champions League group stage for the first time ever. The best results previously were losing in qualifying rounds. Like I said, it is more likely to be Genk. They are obviously the favourites to progress from that tie between them and Servette. And they will be a tough tie. But you know what, Rangers, if we field our strongest team, if we go out and play as we can play, and I've got faith, that Michael Beale can set a team up to be successful in the Champions League. He's one of the best coaches in football. He has a great tactical knowledge. I honestly think that he is the man to take Rangers forward in Europe. So obviously we wish Rangers all the very best. That first tie, like I said, is on the 8th, so the 9th of August, and the following tie will be on the 15th of August. If Rangers were to be successful and progress to the playoff round, the draw would be on the 7th of August, which is a day before the first ties of the third qualifying round. And then the first legs would take place on the 22nd and 23rd of August, with the second legs taking place on the 29th and 30th of August. Or maybe that is thinking a little bit too far ahead. Who knows? Okay, let's talk about our Belgian international star, Nicolas Raskin. Nicolas Raskin has been exceptionally impressive since he came to the club in January. Certainly one of our best players. And I think one of the things that you have to say about Raskin is his positivity. He's very much a forward kind of guy. Gets the ball, passes it forward, runs forward, moves forward. It's all about moving forward. And we've seen that more progressive style from Cantwell and obviously from Dowell as well. But Raskin is kind of like the base of that midfield. Many people have said that Raskin is a future Rangers captain, even with the way he puts himself about and the way he presents himself. He certainly is an exceptionally talented player. And realistically, you're looking at probably one of the couple of years of Nicholas, and then you're looking at somewhere paying between 25 and 30 million for the player, and maybe him being sold down south to Premier League players, Premier League clubs. As we all know, Premier League clubs have all the money in the world. However, Nicolas Raskin took to social media on his Instagram account to express his love for the club. This is what he put up on his Instagram account. A kind of picture of him touching the crest with Rangers lover on the bottom of his thing with big season coming. Nicolas Raskin, obviously in love with the club, enjoying playing his time in Glasgow, and certainly enjoying, being the apple of many fans' eyes. And I think probably a lot of time he's the first name on the team sheet, isn't he? He is a very talented player. And I think, again, someone who could have a phenomenal season upcoming for the club. So, Nicolas Raskin loves Rangers. Great news. But like I said, he is a player I think we will struggle to hold on to long term. He's a player who's going to be worth a substantial amount of money. And certainly, thinking about this trading model that we have now at the club, he is certainly someone who will make the club a lot of money. But he's going to have a valuable role even to play this coming season, and certainly in the Champions League ties to start the season, as he was someone who will know what it's like to play against Genk. Okay, let's do some paper talk. Now, the first thing I'm going to say about this is, We all know that newspapers, especially around this sort of time, like to make stuff up. They like to spin things. They like to rumor things. They like to try and, I don't know, make it as colourful as possible. So whatever the papers say, we must always take with a little pinch of salt. Around the Feyenoord issue with Danilo. Now, Arne Slot, who is the manager of Feyenoord, said he was not prepared to let Danilo leave the club until the club signed replacements for him. It now appears that that is well underway. Feyenoord are currently in the process of signing winger Calvin Stengs and Cercle Bruges striker Ayase Ueda, a Japanese international. It's thought that these two guys will help to contribute to replacing Danilo, more so Ueda than Stengs. It's believed that these two players are two players that were on Schlot's radar, and now they are signed. It will sanction the departure of Danilo. Now, we found out that today that the rumoured salary that has been paid to Danilo of 45,000 is a load of rubbish. He won't be paid that much, but Rangers have submitted a final take it or leave it bid, thought to be around about 6 million to Feyenoord. It's thought that this new development with the signing of Ueda and Stengs, once they are over the line, will sanction the departure of Danilo. Danilo, obviously himself, is very anxious to join Rangers, which he's expressed on his social media a number of occasions, and also kind of, well, indirectly, I suppose, more in a cryptic kind of way. Now, another player who's been linked with Rangers today, more so kind of, I think, for the under 21s or the youth, or to come through as a bit of a development player, is a Gambian defender who plays for the amazingly named Steve Biko FC. Yes, their tribute to the South African civil rights leader. The guy is called Dembo Saidi Khan. He is a Gambian player. He's targeted apparently Rangers, Southampton, and Toulouse are all looking at this defender. He's a centre back. He's 19 years old. He's 6'1". He's quick. He's good on the ball, and he's certainly seen someone who could have a big future in the game. Certainly, the owner of Steve Biko, or the managing director, has said they will not stand in his way if a European side comes calling for him. And it's rumoured that Rangers are one of the clubs interested in bringing the young man to Ibrox. He is only 19 years old. Like I said, more a development piece than an actual starter for the club. So I don't expect to see him in any short term if he was to sign. Now, Rangers take on Olympiacos on Wednesday night. For me, these next couple of games have got to be really a chance to sort of dress rehearsal, to put out your strongest team. Yes, I know we could obviously still get Jose Cifuentes and Danilo ready for the Kilmarnock game, but we've got to prepare with what we've got. We can't just wait for two players that might or might not actually come to the club. So that got me thinking about what could be our strongest 11 ready for this game. Now, I do a lot of NFL coverage. I watch a lot of NFL. In their preseason, the penultimate game is always used as the dress rehearsal, where you play your strongest team from the start. You then obviously sub in and sub out throughout the game, but you start with your strongest lineup as kind of like a dress rehearsal for the new season. Now, as we discussed on the podcast, which was tonight, guys, if you haven't checked that podcast out, please go and check it out. It's with Grant from Heart and Hand. Again, a massive thanks to Heart and Hand for their support. It is an opportunity really for Rangers to go out there the next couple of games and put out their strongest team and really test. I don't think it matters anymore. Pretty much any team can figure out who Rangers are going to play, what Rangers' strongest team is, and the way they're going to play. It's up to us to overcome that. Well, obviously, I think it's fairly obvious that Jack Butland is our top keeper. He's looked good in pre-season so far, solid at the back, come for crosses, good saves. Definitely our goalkeeper one. We then go, I think, with a back four. Looking at the team, I know I'm going to get pelters for this because I know there's a lot of Rangers fans that don't like Ben Davies, but realistically, who else is there at the moment? Leon Balogun's not really a starter. Leon King's not fit. Connor Goldson's not fit. Johnny Uefko, I think he is a player who, once King is back, maybe sent out on loan, which was rumoured by Heart and Hand today. So Tav, Suter, Davis, and Ridvan. For me, Ridvan's got to start left back. He is by far the superior player to Borna Barisic, who, in my opinion, probably is coming towards the end of his time at the club. You then go in with a midfield three for me, which kind of picks itself. Raskin, Cantwell, and Dowell. I've been exceptionally impressed with Kieran Dowell in pre-season. For me, he's played very well indeed, provided a natural balance to the left, likes a tackle, good distribution. Nicholas Raskin has just been absolute quality in pre-season. So again, well worth that pick. You don't need two central defensive midfielders. So you certainly don't need Lundstrom and Raskin in there. Todd Cantwell would then get the start on the right-hand side of that three. I would then go with a three up front, with two up the top, with Lammers in behind, wing backs, the full-backs providing the width, or even Cantwell and Dowell going out. So that'd be Dessers, Lammers, and Seamer. I think we need to see Dessers from the start, see exactly what we've got in Cyril Dessers. Seamer, again, that split-wide striker, give him a chance to get out wide, use that width, something that he is better at, and give Lammers the chance to be that more creative influence and link well with Todd Cantwell, something that he'd certainly started to do in the second half of that game against Hamburg, which provided some very exciting moments. Well, that's my starting team. Butland, Tav, Suter, Davis, Ridvan. Midfield, Raskin, Dowell and Cantwell. Up front, Seamer, Dessers and Lammers. Let me know what your starting 11 would be in the comments below. Well, guys, that game comes obviously at 8:15 kickoff against Olympiacos at Ibrox Wednesday night. Remember, guys, if you've loved the content, if you need to make sure you get your daily Rangers fix, hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and come and join the channel for free. Two things, guys, to do for me. Two things, that's all I need. Number one, smash the like. And number two, remember, we are the people.